Sell Now on ET Now, and let's kickstart with the query segment, Alex. We have our experts today. We have Kunal Bothra with us, as well as we have AK Prabhakar joining us. Good morning, Kunal, once again, and good morning to you, Mr. Prabhakar. Let's kickstart with the queries then. The first one that we've got is from Jitendra. Before Jitendra, let me take this one that I've got from Sailaja. And she wants to know whether she can buy ICICI Bank and Maruti Suzuki at current price for the short term. Either ICICI Bank or Maruti Suzuki, one of them, Kunal, which one can she look to buy in the shorter term?
So I think both these stocks are attractive, but I think Shalja has to also understand that the markets are getting into a zone where crude oil and such other commodities as well as such other news flow could impact both these stocks. So Maruti, of course, being on the selling front today, but I think the stock had done reasonably well. So my sense is that once the selling abates in the market, Maruti and ICICI Bank both stand to, they can stand to get into a recovery process. But the only catch over here is that the news flow could be a bit more tricky. And as now the news flow, crude oil prices, etc., I think if it keeps on rallying, then you might see both these stocks as well getting to selling pressure. So I think the best way to try and trade these stocks is to, if you're looking at short term, you can either use options as a better parameter, because that could help you restrict your
having a bit of an
losses
issue.
In case the stocks, then have a strict stop loss.
Okay, Kunal, I think your feed is giving us a little bit of a problem. So while we figure that out, I'm going to go to the next question. We've got a question coming in from Sukhwinder, and he's writing in from Amritsar. He's asking, and I'm coming to you on this next one, Mr. Prabhakar, Grasim at the current price for the next couple of years. Would you suggest a fresh entry?
No, Grasim is a holding company also. No, the only negative part is they hold stake in Vodafone Idea. Otherwise, the other business is doing very good. No, so I think Grasim is a good buy for a long-term investor.
All right. This next queries that we've got is from Rishikesh, and it's on Adani Power. But before that, as you can see visuals on your screen, you have the first woman SEBI chairperson who's all set to take over, and that is Madhvi Puri Buch, who has experience of almost 2 decades in the industry. Also, if you look at the the companies that she's worked with, she spent at least 20 years in the ICICI group. She was also the SEBI whole-time director from April 2017 till October 2021, and she's all set to take over as the SEBI chairperson. So all eyes on that, and we will get you the visuals, and also we will dip into that particular ceremony through the course of the day. And Madhvi Puri Buch, the new guard at SEBI. But let's move on, and let me ask the next query then, and this one is from Rishikesh. And Rishikesh is asking, how does Adani Power look for the longer term? He has about 2,500 shares, which he's purchased at 132 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold on to it or look to sell it. What's your take on this one, Mr. Prabhakar, Adani Power?
See, in power, it is one of the most expensive power company, and their profitability, after so many years, FY21 is where they made profit. Now, whether that will continue or not, I have my own doubts, because again, you have coal prices and inputs are moving higher. So I would better go in for Tata Power or other alternative companies, NTPC, rather than buying and holding Adani Power. Now, it is the most expensive power company I can imagine.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've got a question coming in from Kunal Thakkar from Mumbai, and he's asking you, Kunal, a question. This is on Hindalco, and we were speaking earlier in the day about these metal counters that are really getting a leg up in trade, right? So he's asking whether to wait at this juncture before entering this counter, or should he nibble in at this point?
So I think we can start nibbling in at current levels. I understand that the stock has rallied up more than 10%, 12% in the last 3 trading sessions cumulatively. But then, if you're looking to buy these stocks on momentum and the market wants to chase these names, then of course you would not find these stocks getting into much stronger correction zone. So a correction could be a bit unlikely into these names because the momentum is so strong, and given the kind of market circumstance where we are, that there are very few options or stocks which are getting to such kind of a momentum TZ for themselves. So I would suggest that you can look to buy Hindalco. What you can actually do is you can start nibbling in at current level. So assuming if you're looking to buy say 100 quantity, then you can look at buying be a 25-30 quantity at current levels, and in case if the stock corrects say another 10-15 rupees, 20 rupees odd, comes closer to 585, 590, then you can look to add further and keep on buying on dips for names like Hindalco.
All right. Let me take this one from Jitendra, and Jitendra has asked a couple of stock names that he's asking whether it's a good time to buy Tata Motors, Electra, Green Tech and Vedanta at current price. He's planning to keep it for 3 years or more. But either one of them, either Tata Motors or Electra, Green Tech or Vedanta, which one would you want to talk on, Mr. Prabhakar? And what should Jitendra do? Do you think it makes sense to buy at current price for the longer term?
See, Electra, that company, it is one of the, priciest company. Their turnover is not even crossing 2,000 crores, I think so, if I'm right. Now, I would prefer Tata Motor or even Mahindra, where the Mahindra is becoming very aggressive. And you check the numbers, monthly numbers, their growth is almost 80%, year-on-year basis. So I think Mahindra or Tata Motor will be my preferred pick.
Mahindra and Mahindra. Denny Matthew from the UK is writing in asking about M&M, about the prospects for this month, Kunal. Maybe a too short a time frame for you to look at, but he's asking if it's likely to cross 900 this month.
900 would be a tall task for a stock like M&M. Again, it could happen if the circumstances across the globe, they ease out all of a sudden. That could probably release the pressure from crude oil as well as give more positive impact towards the auto stocks. But then we have to look at it from a day-to-day basis. As of now, I think I'll agree with Mr. Prabhakar as well, that he mentioned M&M to be one of the quality stocks from the auto pack. Now you have to look at things beyond the short-term concerns for the markets. And I think from a longer-term process, I think it's the best time to try and create a portfolio of these stocks, in the kind of opportunity which the markets are giving right now. So I think in that aspect, I would agree with that. M&M could be a good buy. But again, as I said, short-term could be too short-term kind of a criteria. If you're okay with holding on for say another 1 year, 2 year, 3 year kind of a time frame, then I think it's a very good price to enter into M&M.
This one is coming in from Kumar, and he wants to know whether he can enter Adani Wilmar at current levels since it's recently listed counter. I know that Kunal will not be able to offer any views on it, but Mr. Prabhakar, what's your take on Adani Wilmar? Do you think it's the right price to enter this counter?
No, again, we have the fight in whatever is happening in Russia and Ukraine will impact Adani Wilmar. Sunflower, they are one of the major importer and supplier in India, and sunflower we import from Ukraine and from Russia. I think when there is uncertainty, it is safer to avoid those stocks. It is better to be in stock where the certainty is more. I don't know how the geopolitical thing will pan out, so I will avoid Adani Wilmar at this point.
Fair point. The next one is also for you, Mr. Prabhakar, and this is a question coming in from Mr. Gopalakrishnan, who's writing in from Chennai. He's saying that he recently bought HDFC Life, 300 shares at levels of 568 with a long-term perspective, but he feels that he's a little uncomfortable with the recent performance. Having said that, he's saying that he can add more at this juncture. Would you suggest a fresh add at this time on the fundamentals?
Yeah, I feel so. HDFC Life didn't perform for last 2 years. It is not only HDFC Life, other life insurance also, because due to COVID, the number of claims and the profitability got impacted. Now the third wave is over, and the number of vaccination is increased. I think going forward, this is one of the best buy. Now this sector is growing at 15% CAGR. So I'm very positive on HDFC Life, even SBI Life. But you need to have 3 to 5 years view. A few times, quality stocks don't perform. they take a break. That is what has happened in HDFC Life, but nothing to worry if you're a long-term investor.
One is from Aman Soni and he wants views on HUL. He's already holding at an average price of 2,472 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold or book loss and switch to something else altogether. He's a long-term investor. But Kunal, I'll come to you on this one. HUL, no doubt, markets have been extremely volatile. We've seen the sort of correction the market is seeing. And as all experts say, it is the bull market correction that we may be witnessing. Do you think it makes sense for Aman to feel little, perturbed with the movement that we've seen in HUL? Do you think it's advisable for him to book loss and switch to something else, given that he's a long-term investor?
I think you should first of all not be concerned about too much of what's happening across the globe. From a longer term perspective or a longer term impact. I think the market just about needed any kind of a reason for itself to correct. So whether it was Fed, whether it was the geopolitical tension, etc. I think these news flows, they would keep on occurring time to time. So, but a stock like HUL, I think, has managed to stood, exceptionally well over the last so many decades. Now we've seen the stock being a class performer from a compounding perspective. If you're a longer term investor, if you're very clear with your time frame, then I believe that you should try and take opportunity of these corrections. Ideally, for a stock from the FMCG pack, a 20% correction from your initial cost price, give or take some couple of percentage points, should be a good averaging opportunity for you. So, assuming if you've bought at 2,400 and if the stock corrects towards 2,000, 2,050 odd levels, that could be a good level where you can look to average further.
Kunal, a more near-term conversation, and again we spoke about the fact that financials are under pressure today, Bank Nifty losing ground. We've got a question coming in from Pawan and he's asking what are the immediate levels to track considering that we're seeing quite a bit of pressure on this front.
The bigger concern for Bank Nifty when I look at the charts is the gaps which it has created on the daily time frame. So you look at the last 15 days or 12 days of price action on Bank Nifty, and there are and today's gap included, there are 4 gaps now which are created for the banking index. So all of those 4 gaps remains or would act as strong resistance point. So we look at today's gap down opening. So I think around 36,000 or 35,850 approximately would be the first set of strong resistance for Bank Nifty. If we manage to cross, then we could be looking at maybe some recovery into the banking index. 36,500, 600 could be the next level. But for every 1,000 point higher on the Bank Nifty, there is a huge gap resistance. So I think in terms of levels, these are the very important parameters and levels which you have to keep a track of.
Okay, this one is coming in from Chetu, and this one is also is for you, Kunal. Wants to know, can I hold Colte Patil for 6 months, already in 25% loss? Should I hold or exit? What's your take on this one? What should Chetu do?
See, I would suggest to wait, on Colte Patil. I understand that real estate and the kind of breakouts these stocks have done have been phenomenal, and 10-year, 12-year breakouts for many of the real estate stocks. But then, I've seen that in the market, that when the market gets into a recovery process, it's not the real estate stocks which will rally the first. You have to wait for the market sentiment to come back, let the indices get into stable mode. That could be a process of maybe another couple of months or, or slightly more than that. So wait out for maybe another couple of months. Let the market volatility settle down significantly. Let those geopolitical and the news flow surrounding abate. And if we see that happening, then even if Colte Patil is higher, say by 5% on an average from current levels, you should be more into a comfortable position looking to average there.
I'm hoping that you have coverage on this, Mr. Prabhakar. We got Mohan from Kerala who's asking about NRB bearing. He's talking about the fact that the quarterly performance in the last quarter was not up to what he was expecting. If you have coverage, he's holding on to this counter. Should he exit at this point?
No, we don't have a coverage on NRB bearing, but valuation wise, I don't think it is an expensive stock. They are doing good. It trades at 13.5 trailing EPS. So but we need to understand due to the laggard in auto companies, this stock is not performing. But if he wants to buy something new, I think you have to be in EV space. where we like Sona BLW, where we have a coverage.
We've not seen those price hikes coming. We know that maybe once the state polls are done, we may see a sharp increase in the oil prices. Do you think that that will augur well for these OMCs? And if someone wants to look at it or is already invested in, should stay put and not to be too worried with what is happening with crude?
We have some concern. It depends on the election result also. Maybe after 10th of March, there can be price hike, but it depends on the election results. If election results go positive for the ruling party, then they might increase the price very soon. But if it is not as per their expectation, then they will be very calibrated in their price hike, where OMCs will take some hit because even gas prices have gone up. So the subsidy component is very less for the government. So they might make what happened before, about 7 years before, like that. They might ask OMCs to take a smaller hit in their margins. So if that happens, it might be negative. These are government-related policies. So one has to have a small exposure, not a big exposure to these stocks.
Gentlemen, it's time to hit the rapid fire segment, and you know what this means. We're going to throw questions at you, and you'll have to give us your view as quickly as you possibly can. The first one's for you, Kunal. This is on Zensar Tech, and this is a question coming in from Pratiksha. She's looking for a 3-month period. Would you suggest a fresh entry on the basis of technicals?
Well, yeah, I would suggest a fresh entry at current levels of 351. For a 3-month period, you can keep a target around this 400 up with a stop loss close to 330.
Joy Sheila Prema wants an entry level for Ambuja Cement. Kunal?
I would suggest to wait out for Ambuja Cement. I think the stock is just showing a lot of weakness. If it crosses above 330 level, then you can buy the stock. Otherwise, don't look to add the stock on falling kind of trend.
Tata Steel is the name of the counter, Kunal. We spoke about the pack, but we've got a question from Prashant. He's asking for a short-term target. Would you have one?
After last 3 days of momentum on Tata Steel, that it should come back towards at least 1350, 1400. So short-term wise, I would look at another 2% kind of on Tata Steel from current.
Okay, Prashant Vish wants to know whether he can buy Zomato at 80 rupees per share for the next 3 years. What's the take, Mr. Prabhakar?
No, I will avoid. Even in 3 years, I don't know whether they will make profit. I will avoid.
Mr. Prabhakar, general question. This is from Vinay. He's looking at if geopolitical issues get sorted out in the near term, which sectors stand to benefit?
I think life insurance is one sector. IT will be the other sector where the benefits will flow on faster.
Okay, this one is from Kiran. What's the view on Tirumala Chemicals? Can we buy now or wait for some more correction? What's your take, Kunal?
I think yes. I think at current levels of 209, good price will be.
Kunal, is it the right time to increase exposure and rotate between, I believe this is Tata Steel, Hindalco, JSPL. This is from Aarti.
Yeah, I think depends on what sector you are rotating from, but then if you're looking to take exposure into these names, I think it's a good point where you can start.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire as well as the query segment. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Mr. Prabhakar, for joining us on the show, helping viewers actually figure out where should they invest, where they shouldn't, and what should they do with their current positions as well. And thank you, Kunal, for giving your view on the crude market. On that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now, but stay tuned more on the other side, so don't go anywhere.